Hello again, dear learners. Today we're going to tackle summarizing a report. What types of reports do we have and how are we going to summarize them? Imagine you were a manager in a famous company and then you receive 20, say 40 reports that you have to go through. Which of these reports are you going to read first? And which aren't you going to read at all? So in order to select reports, do you think that summarizing these reports is going to do you any benefits? If yes, what types of summaries are we going to consider effective? In your field of study and line of work, you're going to deal with lots of reports. So as not to get lost in the bulk of details in these reports, it is of utmost importance to learn how to summarize a report. To master report summary techniques and answer all of the aforementioned questions, welcome to Lesson 5, Summarizing a Report. In our course, Technical English for Science and Technology. This lesson focuses on developing the ability to write a summary of a report of various types. First, you're going to be able to identify the components of a technical report and a scientific report, considering that they don't have identical components. Then, distinguish between the two types of reports, technical and scientific. You're going to also be able to apply techniques for conciseness, unity, and coherence in your summaries, and then summarize individual reports on your own using your own words, that is to say, paraphrasing. Ultimately, you will produce summaries of full reports collaboratively. Conciseness is a characteristic of a good summary. The latter demands being concise and precise. To achieve that, there are two techniques. First, delete redundant and unnecessary materials. When you find a report and you want to summarize it, you have to get rid of all details, pictures, figures, tables, unnecessary materials. Then the second technique is you reduce clauses and phrases to shorter constructions like adjectives, phrases, or single words without losing the needed emphasis. If you have a full sentence and you can write it into 2 words, just go for it. If you have whole paragraphs in your reports, try to write the main idea, only the main idea. What are they discussing? Another feature of good summaries is unity. What is unity in a summary or a paragraph? We reach unity in a paragraph when every sentence we write in it is relevant to the general topic of the paragraph. We don't have any irrelevant sentences in our paragraph. All sentences discuss the same idea. In a paragraph, all sentences should be logically related. This was our first lesson, logical relationships. We learned the conjunctions in subordinate clauses with different relationships. So the sentence should make sense, it should be well structured, and it should express logical relationships. And then from one sentence to the other, we should also link them logically. This calls for coherence. Coherence, on the other hand, is achieved using transition words or phrases like in addition, also, furthermore, on the one hand, on the other hand, and other transitions to link one sentence with the other. Pronouns are also used in order to substitute previously mentioned nouns. Therefore, they help tie the paragraph together coherently. Coherence might also be achieved via repeating keywords in a summary or in a paragraph in general. When we summarize, we have to respect conciseness, unity, and coherence. Very important features in summaries. So, what steps are we required to follow when we write a summary? Step 1 in writing a summary is to jot down the main points in note forms. You have your report, read it, read every single paragraph, and jot down the summary or the main idea of each paragraph in the form of notes. For example, paragraph 1 is an introduction to the topic of X. Paragraph 2 is discussing causes of the project X and Y. Paragraph 3 is discussing consequences. Paragraph 4 is discussing the costs. These are just points to jot down. Once you do that, you move to step 2. Link them clearly into concise sentences in your own words. Each paragraph now should be emphasized or elaborated into full sentence, but you have to use your own words. Do not use the style or the words written in the report. Try to paraphrase and explain briefly what is the topic about in each paragraph. After summarizing each paragraph into a short sentence, you will have to link the sentences into a coherent paragraph with a topic sentence. You start the topic sentence as an introduction about the whole topic of all the report and all sections or paragraphs of the report. Then you have your sentences, link them with linking words. Conclude your summary now and edit and check for mistakes or ambiguity, any kind of mistakes you might find in your summary. Now that you have your summary ready, what type of report are you going to summarize? Technical or scientific? Are they the same? You have to differentiate between a technical and a scientific report. Starting with technical reports, a technical report is short if we compare it to a scientific report. Sometimes you might have long technical reports when they are proposals. We find technical reports generally in companies and big corporations. Technical reports document practical projects or engineering solutions. That's why we find them mostly in corporations or in companies. The audience of this type of report are practitioners, managers, engineers, or clients. That is particularly why they are found in companies. We write them for those higher authority in order to describe our projects or engineering solutions. When people write technical reports, they generally use clear and especially predefined structure to make it easy for managers to find information easily. What is the structure of a technical report? It includes first an introduction general about the content of the report, then a number of body paragraphs. Each paragraph is discussing an element in the plan. If it is a process, they start expressing how, for example, this machine works. Then they have the title components of this machine, importance of this machine, maybe problems of this machine. In order to find information easily, they have each paragraph discussing one element. When they finish, they conclude the paragraph and summarize the key points. Scientific report is usually longer than a technical report. They are found at universities or published in journals because they document experimental research or observations. They do not propose projects to managers or companies. Rather, they are written for scientists, researchers, or academics in the field. Like a technical report, a scientific report also uses clear, predefined structure to make information easy to find. However, scientific reports include additional sections. The structure of a scientific report goes as follows. It starts with introduction, then moves to methodology. Methodology is the tools used to gather data. Did the researcher use questionnaires, interviews, or experiments? Then after that, we find a paragraph about the results. What findings did the researcher reach? And then discussion of the results. They explain the results in terms of new information or they relate it to previously done research. Sometimes we find other sections like implications. How can I use this new information practically? And they also discuss limitations to the study or the research and even suggest future research that seems interesting or underexplored. Let's wrap up today's lesson in brief. Conciseness means clarity, efficiency. How do we achieve conciseness in summaries? We delete, we shorten, we remove all unnecessary information because every word counts in summaries. We cannot have a summary that is longer than the report or that is very long that it makes us confused. Unity and coherence are vital in paragraphs and in summaries alike. Unity when all sentences are related. The relationship expressed within a sentence is logical and well expressed. Coherence means that one sentence is related to the next sentence, also logically using transitions, pronouns, or repeating keywords. So keep ideas connected within sentences and across sentences. The first step in a summary is you take notes of every single paragraph. Then you write those notes into full sentences in your own words. Then you connect these sentences into a short paragraph, top it with a topic sentence, finally edit and do not exceed 200 words to make your summary effective, concise, precise. Technical report is practical, structured into introduction, body, and conclusion. In the body, you might have multiple paragraphs with multiple titles. Information for practitioners or clients or managers. On the other hand, the scientific report is research focused. It is structured around an introduction, methodology, results, and discussion. It might also include other sections like implications, limitations, and future research suggestions. Information is reported to researchers and academics. With that, we come to an end. Thank you for listening, and I hope you got the point of today's lesson summarizing different reports. Thank you. See you next session.